Hi, ma'am.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am fine. So I will be waiting for 2 minutes so that everyone can join us. I hope my
Sure.
voice is clear.
Yeah. How about mine?
Yeah, it's clear.
Superb, superb. You look very pretty.
Thank you. So, ma'am, we did a kind of a question thing yesterday on our page as well as on my personal
Hmm.
page. So we have
Right.
got a lot of multiple questions from our audience. So I would be
Hmm.
asking them with you as well. And I would also
Sure.
be requesting our audience to, while that we are discussing about the topic, they can also come up with
Mm.
their questions and we can answer them.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah.
Someone coming want to join the live, that's also fine. Ask me
Yeah.
live questions.
Okay.
Super,
So
super.
I
Sounds
would
great.
start with the session.
Sure.
Hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing fine and well. A very warm welcome to all of you in today's live session. Manoshala aims to democratize preventive mental health care solution in India, which not only focuses on clinical therapy but also focuses on alternative therapy. I, Tamanna Rajpal, will be hosting today's live session. I'm an expert with Manoshala, working as a psychologist, and I deal with behavioral issues of the kids. As you all
Mm.
know, relationship plays a very significant role in our lives. The relationship that we have with ourselves determines the kind of the way we forward to our interpersonal relationship. There are a lot of factors involved there are a lot of factors involved to build and sustain a healthy and fulfilling relationship. Maintaining a strong relationship requires constant care and communication, and certain traits that have been shown to especially important for fostering a healthy relationship. In 21st century, good relationships are generally marked by emotional and physical fairness, particularly in the distribution of chores necessary to maintain a household. Partners in strong relationship also feel grateful for one another, openly provide a receive infection, and engage in different healthy discussion. So come on, let's understand about 360 deep dive into a healthy relationship by Ambika Aruna Ganesha. She is a relationship expert, a coach, and a facilitator, and I would request her if she can also introduce herself.
Sure. Firstly, thank you so much to you and your team to think of me and bring me here. So I have been into this industry for about a decade. I worked with corporates mostly on issues of teams and leadership before this. And all parallelly, I've had a life coaching practice where I've coached people from confidence to self esteem. And now, during the pandemic, I realized the more time people have, they had more time to reflect whether their relationship is healthy or unhealthy, whether it is toxic to move out, or whether they need more time and things to do for their partners. And that helped me to understand, okay, this is the area that I really need to work on, because that's the most clients I got. And that's how I started the relationship coaching, more deep diving into what it is. And also, I think personally, it was a challenging period in some relationships, existing relationships I had. So I was also seeking answers. I feel it always flows from the heart of your own trauma and the wisdom to the others. So that is what brought me to do what I'm doing. So that's where.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, our first question is that what is a relationship between any two people?
Okay. So, a very beautiful thing, one of the saints from Siddha Samadhi Yoga said, and I really like it. He said, what someone asked him, what is love? So they said, two nobodies coming in touch with each other for nothing and sitting in silence, exchanging energy is love. And for me, relationship has been that somewhere where you don't have any give and take happening. When that give and take stops, when the trust is more natural and it's within you first, and that overflows to someone else and they also reciprocate, I think that's a healthy relationship.
Okay, okay. So, ma'am, and another question is, what are the components in a love and the parent relationship which keep us alive?
What are the components? Can you repeat the
Yeah.
question again?
Okay, what are the components in a love and the parent relationship which keep us alive?
Okay, so I think the components that keep us alive in a love relationship I go by this 3C formula. I feel it's companionship, the courtship, or the period that we spend before we really fall in love, whether it's before or after marriage, and compatibility. How much our values match. So most people, and oh, sorry, chemistry. There's one more.
Yeah.
How like the courtship is chemistry, correct? So the chemistry, companionship, and compatibility. I'll explain a bit. The chemistry is the attractive part where you get the flutters in your stomach and where you want to, just be with the person and you can't live without them. That undeniable attraction and also unquestionable attraction. Sometimes you don't know why you're attracted to a man who is not even your type. And you're like, oh no, why? Like, this guy ever? No. He was in my school, or I met him in some office, a random supermarket guy. That's chemistry, definitely. It's a very important component for our sexual health.
Okay.
Second is I'll just finish this. The
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
companionship bit.
Yeah.
No, no worries. Companionship is the place where we find a friend in them, where we find a wiser friend, a guide, someone who holds space for our tears and for whom you also want to be there. I think companionship is just not going on dates together and building a home. Definitely, those are very important parts, but also to see how you hold each other in sadness and difficult times. That's companionship. And then, of course, the compatibility, whether your values match. I think the most separations or conflicts I have experienced as a relationship coach is in this area where there is not a particular value match and the value match doesn't happen, and that's the reason. So please check how they behave, not what they say. Don't marry a potential, marry who they are. Don't go by, oh, I'll change this about me and then I'll be the right person for them. No, if you're the right person, you're the right person. If you're the wrong person, then don't do it. And that self-regulation is, I think, is the key component to all of these components. So
Sorry
that's what
to
it is.
interrupt you in between, but like you said that
Hmm.
okay, we how we can get to understand this that okay, fine, we are
Hmm.
not that correct person for that person. How we will get to know that is there something a sign or something that help us to understand that okay, fine, we are not the correct
Hmm.
person for him or her, or they are not a correct person for us. So how?
Great question first. I think that's where most of the our generation is really not going right. But yes, so there are signs. The thing is that we must be able to see relationships from an emotional point of view, but also a little more rational point of view. And actually, that sign comes when you're more self aware. The sign is always there. The problem is we're not self aware. We're head over heels. The person has become everything for us. Our world revolves around them.
And then,
If you can take a step back, you'll be able to see what's happening. The best judge is you, not your best friend, neither your therapist, and definitely not your parents. So don't rely on outside judgment, whether it's a red sign and blah, blah, blah. No. Create a space where you can create a gap between you and the relationship and really see what do you want out of it, what do you deeply desire. If you know that, then the signs that you're a right or wrong person is true. Most people do not know what do they want or what do they do not want. Make a list of what I absolutely do not want. Make a list of non-negotiables. That should help you recognize whether he's the right or not. That's what I say.
okay, thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay. So, what are the most dangerous compliments in a relationship?
Dangerous compliments.
Compliments in the relationship.
Okay. Many. Anything that makes it unhealthy. So, if you go by theory of relationship coaching, I'm forgetting the guy who invented this, but the theory says that out of five interactions between a couple, if anything more than four is negative, gives a feeling of unseen, unheard, unloved, or not being reciprocated in love, or in any way, then it is a toxic relationship. So the best way to go by this is that you find how many interactions you have with them. And if it exceeds beyond four, then one, look for a coach or a therapist first. Don't try to make this connection of, I heard this on internet and I read this on internet and then my bestie said this. Don't do that. Please take expert help here and then understand what is the most dangerous. But I feel the most dangerous is anything. If you feel unseen, unheard, unloved, these are three things, and these are the three things we want all our life. Even kids, right, from their parents, all they want to be is seen and appreciated, heard fully, that their parents listen to them, and feel safe and secure and comfortable. And they want is love. This is what you're seeking even as an adult. Nothing different. So if you don't get those three, try to work throughout. You may be not doing that for your partner as well. Let's get that right. If you both are doing that and it's not working, you still don't find the sync between each other, then definitely it's a toxic relationship and it's dangerous.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how you know.
So, ma'am, can toxic relationship can be between a sibling? Can it be between parent and daughter, like a kid and their parents, or between brother and sister, or between uncle and between a kid and aunt? So, can we have a toxic relationship with them also, or the toxic relationship is only with the partner?
Now, toxic relationship could be with your security guard. That's not a
Okay.
problem. Any healthy relationship or any relationship outside, even you could have a toxic relationship with yourself. I would go up to that extent. Toxic relationship just means the same ratio that I told you. If out of five, four relationships, four interactions with them are negative, it is a toxic relationship. You must seek help for it, or at least do something about it, and try to understand where they come from, and also try to understand what needs of your own are not getting fulfilled in the process. Most times we don't know what is not getting fulfilled. Like, for example, I feel unseen and I believe that no, I don't no more want to share anything with my parents. I am independent. Now, right now, the whole Gen Z is overly independent and it's actually a trauma response. Most of us don't want to stay with our parents, want to stay outside because we don't want to work those relationships out. And then we're seeking love outside. And it's happening day in and day out. And then if both the kids are like that, they have a trauma bond, right? Both have the same trauma with their parents and then they come together. But once they meet, do you think it's going to be positive? Two negatives are not positive in psychology, it's only in maths. It only increases the negativity. So toxic relationships could be with anybody, but romantic relationships challenge us the most. So they make you
Okay.
question and they make you think and you can't leave them. That's why we talk about only romantic relationships, but it's with a lot of parents actually and a lot of kids also. So it's very normal to be in other relationships, yes.
Ma'am, but a lot of time, doesn't this happen that when we are in a romantic relationship and if it is toxic, somewhere our other
Hmm.
relationship can go into that way that is also getting toxic. Because our frustration might
Hmm.
be when I am having a fight with my partner, that might affect my
Hmm.
relationship with my parents, with my maybe with my cousins,
Hmm.
or maybe with my colleagues because I'm so frustrated, so irritated.
Hmm.
So
Right.
how we can set boundaries between these? Like for example, I would just take an example of a person who just recently had a
Hmm.
fight with his or her partner, and then he or she is so frustrated that they are not able to connect, or then just start having
Hmm.
fights with their colleagues also, with their parents also, with the siblings also, with XYZ person. So how we
Hmm.
can create that boundaries which can help us so that our
Hmm.
relation, if there is a relationship issue with one person, can't affect, it should not affect other things also. So how we can create that
Hmm.
boundaries?
Interesting question. It's a gray. There's no yes and no to this question, and I will explain why. Yes, can you create? Definitely, with the heightened self-awareness, it's possible for me to know that all the frustration I have to tackle within myself and not spill it over. But sometimes it's humanly impossible to do it. Even as a coach or even you as a therapist, end of the day, we are humans, and the human limitation is that we are who we are wherever we go because we have to go with ourselves. No? So, can you create that boundary? It's a yes. And how? It's very simple to remember and journal about the toxic, the pain, the frustration every night and every day whenever you feel like. Also, I recommend an app called Headspace where they
Okay.
have a special pack for this.
Okay.
They have a special pack of meditations for this, and it's extremely powerful. I gave it to a few of my clients, and I've also used myself. That app is anyway very, very beneficial. I highly recommend. It's called Headspace. So creating more
Okay.
space in your head. So when you create more space in your head with meditation or something, it helps you detach from that scenario for a while. And then again, the same gap that I was talking about, if you're able to see it from a third party perspective within yourself, you'll be able to create that boundary. Oh, so I am not actually supposed to do this in other relationships. But it's very, very hard. And I would still recommend a deep dive into why you're frustrated, what needs are not being met, and how can you fulfill them for yourself, not from your partner, not from anybody outside. When self love is super high, very few things will bother by default. And that's the deepest answer to this question. So there are three layers. The first is self awareness, second
Fairness.
is creating a gap, and third is developing that amount of self love that actually you don't get bothered by anything in this world. But
Okay.
that's close to nirvana, so I don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, so this was,
yes.
I think, the most frequent question asked by our audience specifically. What are these red flags and green flags that people keep saying that okay, it is now them? Like we always get to know, okay, now you are getting the signs that the red flag that red flag signs are coming in a
Yeah.
relationship, something is going wrong, then green flags means. So why? Like, what are these red flags and green flags?
That's also a great question, and I'm not surprised that it is so popular because there are just so many reels on that.
Yeah.
So, red flags is anything that tells you that this relationship is not right for you. Now, how human tendency works? The humans are very funny creatures that way. Rationally, you may know that you don't want to continue with this person. Like you get a feeling that, you know what, it has happened many times that you've lied, for example, and dishonesty is a non negotiable for me. But my attachment style is like anxious, like I have this fear ki I can't be alone. So because I have that fear, I keep continuing with this relationship. Now, this person has got a red flag that this person is not for them, but due to their anxiety about leaving someone, losing people, not being able to stay alone, or a peer pressure of being in a relationship, for whatever reasons, they continue. Now, that is a red flag. A green flag is that when you know that it's actually going to a healthier self, you are becoming a better person with them. You are growing stronger with them. They support your career, for example. They don't make you choose between marriage and career. It's as simple as that. Like in our Indian society, it's such a common thing, right?
So
नहीं
common.
एक तो मैं नहीं तो जॉब करो नहीं तो शादी कर लो जो ये बंदा बोलेगा ना कि हाँ ठीक है तू जॉब भी कर मैं तुझे सपोर्ट करता हूँ दैट्स ग्रीन फ्लैग और they're open to the ideas which are not really within their opinions. Like, for example, they have a certain opinion about people wearing shorter clothes, and but they're still okay with other people. That's a green flag because that shows openness, that shows secured way of life and thinking. How much people are secured within themselves, that is how much they're secured in a relationship. And the other way around, if they always doubt being cheated or they feel that they would be cheated or they would cheat, it just means that they are insecure within themselves. So all relationship problems are self-love problems. Actually, they're never outside. So if you like blame a partner, it's just going to create a mess for you. So it's best is to look within yourself, like where are the green flags and red flags within myself. So that's the idea, I feel.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Sure, sure.
So what we do if a partner doesn't accept us in public, especially if it is a gay couple, if it is a gay couple.
Okay. One thing is this very less you could do for other people. You could do one thing for yourself, that you could actually have a difficult conversation with them, make them sit and ask what stops them from doing that. Then they will give you a list of reasons, I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel XYZ. And do you have the capacity to accept that, or it's a non-negotiable for you that they should accept you? If it is a non-negotiable, then you wouldn't have a choice but to leave the relationship. But I am someone who will always say that please give them an opportunity to share why they don't want to do it. And if you find it valid, and if you actually understand and accept them with that need, your bond is going to go deeper. Also, you could help them overcome those reasons why they are not doing it, rather than blaming the, oh, you don't accept me socially, you don't post a reel with me, or you don't
Anyway,
post a picture of our
picture
date.
with me.
Yeah, like, or just tell my friends. I can't tell my friends I'm dating anybody. It's sometimes so worse, especially in gay couples, and people come to me, and when they share, I feel also the pain of them, because socially it's such a stigma, and they don't come from all affluent backgrounds and open backgrounds, and it's not easy. So anybody watching, I'm really with you. I see the pain and I really feel you. But at the same time, I feel when we blame each other for that, for something so societal and outside and contextual, it only creates a rift between you two. And you're going to face that with the second partner also. Trust me.
Yeah,
It's not
agree.
always the case. यहाँ नहीं solve हुआ तो कहीं और जाके you will
Kaya
be challenged with the same issue.
same thing.
So don't leave this relationship for something so circumstantial. Please work on it. Have a difficult conversation. Take expert help wherever you need.
Okay. Ma'am, is it fine to keep expectations in a relationship?
How humanly is it possible not to?
Ma'am,
How
but
humanly?
it but if keeping expectation doesn't harm a relationship more, like of course we all have been in a relationship. I think being married to in front a lot of people, we all have been in a relationship, and I think
True.
keeping like if we keep an expectation from a partner, it creates. You don't think there are times when it goes like this instead of coming like this, like our partner's coming like this, goes like this.
Yeah. So honestly speaking, all relationships are a balance between these two. You can't help but have conflict with another person. They show all the unhealed parts, whatever you need to see within yourself, the most brightly. Romantic relationships challenge us. We don't like challenges and we don't want conflict. We want a fairy tale that the media has always taught us, but that's not the case. Look at your own parents. I think this is what I tell everybody. Tell me one perfect marriage around you. है
Mom,
क्या? नहीं है ना?
sorry to interrupt you in between,
Yeah,
but
go
it's
ahead,
a
go ahead.
21st century. So we do have a lot of because I think हमारे parents ने कहीं ना कहीं उस चीज पे just कर लिया है. And हम
हाँ,
मतलब like the way we are growing, the way we are into the city. मेरे I think when my parents were there, उनको allowed नहीं था कि वो बाहर जाके study भी कर पाए. I went out, I did my graduation, I
mm,
was working outside. Like, so मतलब that also makes a difference to 21st century मतलब
sure,
वो एक
sure,
so
sure, sure.
adjustment issues अगर हम करें जैसे हमें तो मतलब we always got to know this कि हमारे जो grandparents थे they were used
Mm,
to be like कि उनके तो भैया जिस दिन उनकी शादी है, उसी दिन वो मिल रहे हैं and
correct.
but यहाँ but हमारे time पे तो I think we either meet on Tinder, Bumble, whatever it is like that sites. So
Sure, sure.
how like मतलब वो कहते हैं ना कि how then how
The
that we create that difference.
expectations,
Yes.
the expectations were there from the day one when the human being was born. And it is a reason for suffering, no doubt about that. But it's an internal journey to go beyond expectations. It's not about other people. and the expectations you have actually have needs hidden in them. I think the best way to tackle this is to differentiate between what is an expectation and what is a need. If you have a need that they need to be there around you all the time, and if you marry a flight attendant or a pilot because you fell in love and you couldn't hold your chemistry out, you will have to see whether my need is not met or I expect my husband to be there. I think I would never marry personally, being such a sensitive. I'm a too much person. There's a very beautiful poem by Chandrama. She writes poetry. I'll send it to you, or post it on Manoshala. Actually, she says I'm a too much person. I need too much of love. I need too much of attention, and I'm like that as well. I'm very sensitive. Now, if I marry someone in the army or someone in the, somewhere, and I expect them to be there, it's not going to be working. Or someone who is emotionally unavailable, they have not healed their trauma in the past, I'm expecting too much. So check in your own context within yourself. There are two kinds of expectations. One is where the need is hidden. And if your needs are not being met, definitely question the relationship. If it's not going to be healthy because of that. But if your expectations are something negotiable, then learn to accept them, that they can't fulfill it. For example, in a parent relationship, we want our parents to be always there to financially, emotionally
Emotionally.
support us. Like, wo bhagwan nahi hai. They have their own traumas, they
I
have their
agree with
own
you.
natural normal life. Just look at your father as the man who made it from that generation to this generation with whatever little money. Most of our parents struggled in this generation. Very few of them really got it on the plateau, and they have their own childhood traumas which they don't even know about.
Know about.
We have the privilege to discuss our traumas and actually heal through. They don't even know that exists.
Yes,
Now
agree
you
to
don't
you.
want to see that, and then there is an expectation that my father should be the Netflix father who is bringing breakfast on Sunday morning. Nahi hoga. It's not possible. Do you have, and from where is it coming, is very important. You can choose that, can you negotiate this or can you not negotiate this. It's all about what is your non-negotiable, but for that you must be very aware what you deeply desire in a relationship with your parents, with your teachers, with your students, with your colleagues, with your kids, and your romantic partner. Every relationship, irrespective where you are.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's where it is.
Okay. Thank you. So, what if I am feeling distance with my partner? How can we get it back?
Oh, so distance is natural again. I told you it's always a balance between this and this. Check your attachment style. There's a whole video and content on. I can't see you, Tamanai, there. Yeah,
No,
hey,
actually,
yeah,
my
got back.
phone was there. There was some issue. Yeah.
Flipped. Okay,
No, no, no.
cool.
Actually, it will get discharged. So I was just keeping it on charging.
Perfect. Let's go on.
Yeah.
So check your attachment style. It's a very good model, very easy to understand. It's a beautiful psychology concept which will help you understand where you come from. A lot of times we don't want to lose people, we don't want to keep people, or we need our space. Distance and space are also very related, so it could mean different to different people. As a person who wants to give an expert advice, I need more details. But I would say distance is not always not healthy. People think distance आ गया मतलब कुछ something is wrong, कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. हर बार ऐसा नहीं होता है.
होता है.
नॉर्मल है, दो लोगों के बीच में थोड़ा डिस्टेंस आएगा तो एक्चुअली यू माइट हैव मोर लव बिल्डिंग अप लेटर, more sexual tension as well. Sometimes distance is because of deeper conflicts within values and that need more conversation. Sometimes distance is because they are attracted to someone else and they are still struggling with that attraction. But let me put it in the space. We are humans and we're going to be attracted to other beings. If human was a monogamous relationship biologically, it would have been different. but because biologically it's possible to mate with other humans, it's a very biological thing to be attracted, and it's the loyalty is such a huge concept in our culture that we get questioned all the time, and we think distance could be that and distance could be this. We could have another live on loyalty and commitment about this, but it's very important for you to see where the distance is coming from, and whether it's coming from a healthy space where they just feel that they need their space, or it's coming from a place where there is a deeper conflict which you have not addressed and just slept over, you're slided it under the carpet, or the third way where you really see whether they're being attracted, or there could be a fourth reason which completely bizarre and strange, that they just don't feel the way they're getting depressed or they're not happy at work. So don't try to guess, have a
Okay.
conversation with the person
Station.
with whom you're feeling this.
Okay. So, ma'am, like here you came that we might have like feelings for other person as well. So
Yeah.
this is like I think there's a lot of observation I have done specifically in my friend circle, I would say, or even with other lot of people as well, and with other clients as well, that when it comes to a girl, girls easily show their jealousy for other person or something. Like they are very clear about it. But when it comes to
Hmm.
a guy, one thing they are not very clear about it that okay, I have that jealousy phase or blah blah stuff. And
Hmm.
but with their expressions, we are trying to understand that okay, fine, they are getting jealous. But if girls come up and say, okay, I'm getting jealous, the guy gets hyper. But when a guy
Hmm.
comes and say, I am getting, but the guy won't say also, he might just distance himself or himself
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
us.
Hmm.
Okay, fine, I need that distance. How we can work on that?
Okay. So just know what jealousy is first. Let's discuss. Jealousy is a very beautiful emotion. Actually, it shows what you want. So if they want you, all of you to yourself, it's actually a very beautiful feeling if someone is jealous. Can you hold them with both hands and just give them assurance that you're all theirs?
On this.
It's not something to be angry about, or why would you react? Someone just wants all of you to themselves, and it's a very beautiful thing that you have a privilege that you have a partner like that. So first thing is, I always tell them, appreciate your partner for being jealous. Man,
Exactly.
you've done it. You want all of me. I'm so happy. So nothing to react with. Instead, see that what do they want, what need of them, are you giving too much? See, it's not necessary that if I'm straight and my husband or my partner is jealous because I give a lot of time to my mom, or I'm giving spending a lot of time with my work, and they might not tell you that because they themselves don't understand what they want. So check where you haven't been there for them, and bring out those topics, have a conversation like an adult. Don't react, oh my god, you're so jealous and I don't like it and you're not giving me space, and don't complain. Try to understand the person who is jealous from a point of view that they love you so much that they want all of you to them. That's what I was saying. That's how you tackle jealousy, not by reacting.
Okay. So just a question came from this from in my mind that okay,
Yeah.
so if there is a relationship where either a guy or a girl, like they have been in a good relationship, and like either a girl, I won't say specifically a guy, but girl can also be like they are initially having a feeling for another person as well, and it is happening frequently. Like okay, for 6 months he had a feeling for one person, then after 6 months he had a feeling for other person, or she had a feeling. So, is there a problem in that relationship that this
What do
is
you
happening?
mean? Are
But
this?
okay, I would make my clear thing. For example,
Yeah.
I and you are in a relationship, and I
Yeah.
every 6 months I am having the feelings for this another guy every time. But I am coming and telling
Mm.
you that okay, fine, I have this, like I might be feeling something for him or her. But I am telling
Mm.
you, I won't cheat on you, but this is something I wanted to tell you. How should, as a partner, we should react that every 6 months is like he has have feelings for any other person. How, as a partner, we should react? And isn't would be a jealousy more jealousy for us, insecurity?
Mm.
How we
So
should work on that? Is that
once
relationship a
again,
healthy relationship?
Okay, that's great question. Whether it's a healthy relationship depends on whether this is your non-negotiable.
Okay.
Again, tell me where in your alignment does it fit that other person likes someone or not, and how frequently. When we're posed with such challenges, it gives us an opportunity to see within ourselves whether this is something I want or I don't want, whether this is a behavior I would negotiate or don't negotiate. And I'll also tell you, in this whole era of 21st century you've been mentioning, we have multiple partners. We get to
Agree.
see a lot of parts of ourselves and
Partners.
evolve
Right.
very, very fast, because not every partner is going to show the same thing. They're going to show different parts of us. So make it very clear within yourself that, okay, if this person has more number of things that they keep getting attracted to someone else, is it a reason? Am I and their relationship is a little bit of a problem? Is there something deep within our relationship that needs to be sorted, that they are attracted to someone else? One. Second, ask them, why does it happen? If they say, oh, it's just naturally I'm like that, then are you okay to be in an open relationship maybe? Is it something that you would enjoy to be in an open relationship? Like, I had a friend who said she was dating three guys at the same time, all three knew about each other. And this is not in India, it's outside, but
Outside.
are you open about that? So having an open conversation about what do you really feel. And even this, people, I tell you, a lot of times when you know you have a savings account and you can go on doing other things, then you're like, okay, I have one secured relationship, I nothing have to worry, so I can go around, look for everything I want. It's fine if they want to do that, but is it your value to allow your partner to do that? Are you giving that freedom out of force? Like, are you giving it forcefully or you're giving it willingly? If you're giving it forcefully, it is challenging you. And that says something about you. So can you be with someone who forces you to give them freedom? If you can't, then question it. Then it's unhealthy. If you can willingly provide that freedom and also take that freedom if you want, it could be an extremely healthy relationship where two open people are doing whatever they want, not cheating on each other by sex. So, sexual cheating is the most popular cheating,
Cheating.
unfortunately. But cheating could be on mental, emotional, psychological level.
Right.
So
I agree to this.
they're not only cheating when they go sleep with someone. It's a myth.
Right.
It's a myth. We relate on
I
all
agree to
levels,
this.
and all levels are agreeable cheating. So you decide what's your definition of cheating, how much openness can you provide, how much freedom is definitely your thing and what is not your thing, and then take a call. Now, again, seek expert help. Don't try to do all of it yourself. It's not easy.
Okay. So what should we do to have that spark in a relationship, to keep that spark in a relationship?
Great question. So, a spark in a relationship, people think it's happily forever, like happy, whatever we call it, forever after, happily ever after. Happily ever after is a labor of love, and it's a lot of work. Relationships are work. First know that. So if your mom told you that you get married और फिर उसके बाद सब solve हो जाएगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा. उसके बाद भी प्रॉब्लम्स होंगे, क्योंकि जो रिलेशनशिप प्रॉब्लम अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ नहीं सॉल्व हुए, वो ही रिलेशनशिप प्रॉब्लम्स आपको पेरेंट रोमांटिक रिलेशनशिप से सॉल्व करने हैं. तो ऐसा नहीं होगा कि यू विल गेट थ्रू थिंग्स क्विकली or you will whatever. You'll have to work on yourself. The spark part is initially when you meet a new person. But it's with anything. You start a new project, you're super excited, and it gets very tough when it actually comes to execution of it. Same as with marriage and romantic relationships. So people want that spark going all the time. Yeah, you could go on dates, you could have a more romantic conversation, you could do some hobbies together, also bring something new in your sex life. Like I would really recommend. There are many pages like Sex Therapist or Talk You Never Got or things like
Yeah.
that. I really recommend those handles. There are many, many ideas floating around to spice up your sex life. You could also do a lot of conversations about things you both enjoy talking about. I think that's a very big one. But at the deep down, I think firstly accept that it's not going to be all the time there, and it's completely okay to have a lull in a
Okay.
relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
And then do all of this.
Okay. So, ma'am, is it fine, like, okay, two people do a breakup and like, I won't say breakup, one person did a breakup, he suddenly said, I don't want to talk to you. She suddenly said, I don't want to talk to you, and
Hmm.
like block the person. He or she
Hmm.
doesn't get that closure. How the other partner should react?
Okay. So
Is it fine
seeking
that a
closure,
breakup without a closure?
everything is fine because that's what happens in life. Honestly, you're not going to get a closure every time. It's just not possible because both the people are not always the same. Not everybody is emotionally mature
Exactly.
to give a closure, maybe emotionally stable to give a closure after a breakup. Some people go get traumatized, some people can't hold that conversation. Some people are incapable of even understanding why they should give a closure. So, one thing is, you're not going to get a closure all the time,
Closure time.
and be okay with that. Second, the closure part is always within ourselves as well. Sometimes the person will give you closure that is, he's not or she's not saying what you want.
Same.
In one of my closures, I remember I wanted the guy to definitely say that, it was a mutual one,
Mutual time.
whereas I wanted it. And I almost forced him. I'll be honest, I almost forced him कि आप ये क्यों नहीं बोल रहे हो? And then he was like, but मुझे नहीं बोलना है because it's not mutual. You want it. You want to break up. You want to move away. And I'd be like, okay, so this is where it is. He's doing it because I don't want to continue. So how can I have the closure of mutual? I have to have a closure of one side and I have to own the whole thing that I did it. I wanted it. It's not okay for me. So there's a lot of ownership when we don't get a closure that you need to take about the relationship and the part you played and the contribution you made for the relationship to be the way it was. So own it and don't seek it if it's not happening naturally. It's not anyway going to happen exactly the way you want. It's very, very rare that people actually do closures which are harmonious and exactly how each other wanted, unless they're really evolved and mature. It's not the case. So, yeah,
Okay.
don't seek too much of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I would request my audience if they have any questions, please, I will request them. They can send us the questions.
Sure.
Till that time, I will ask other few questions which I have from our audience. How to get
Yes.
emotionally close with your partner? This is something I would also really, this is my favorite question, I would say.
Okay. So, emotionally close in the sense you want to emotionally connect more. Okay, I'll give you a very funny answer first and then explain. Know their childhood traumas, baby. Childhood traumas speak volumes about emotional closure. But anyway, why I said it's funny and it's also very serious. Our adult romantic relationships are very deeply connected to our childhood, to the memories we have had, because the first marriage you see is of your parents. The first relationship you really experience within an opposite gender is your mom or dad. So seek some understanding there about yourself first, that can I be more open and vulnerable to different opinions and different things that interest. So emotionally close is very, very deeply related to how you relate within yourself and how you see your own emotions. So something goes differently with you in a day, can you share that more openly to your partner? Can they listen? Or if something goes beyond their understanding and they can't get something, they get confused, do you have the space to really listen to that? So to me, emotionally close means listening. And I definitely feel, deeply feel, listening is love.
Okay.
So if you can fully listen from your body, mind, soul to the other person, not many words would be required. And that's the most beautiful bridge between two emotions of people. So listening is key. And second, as I said, share what's not right, what's also going wrong, not only the highlight of your day, but the low of your day, not only the highlight of your life and your achievements, but also failures, not only those great dates, but also the dates that really bummed, the sex that didn't go the way you wanted. I think these deeper conversations will help you bring emotionally close and also create a deeper bond within you and him or her.
Okay. How to deal with insecurities?
Insecurities. Perfect. Don't deal with them, work on them. Insecurities, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, 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 I want.
Okay. Insecurities, again, just like jealousy, right? Show where we need to heal. So, as kids, we want security and comfort. And when that is not given in a relationship, we'll feel insecure. Then we grow up with that insecurity as an adult and then seek that in a romantic relationship. In fact, most people get attracted to someone like their mom or dad by default. You go check right now, all these people who are watching and going to watch this video, please do this assignment. We all are like that, right? So, whatever we didn't get there, we'll seek outside. But the best way to deal with insecurity is to fulfill that need for yourself.
Myself.
Yeah, inside yourself, all relationship problems are self love problems. Your own insecurity is causing this. For example, you have a lot of anger, okay, outside your marriage. You're going to have a lot of anger inside your marriage because you're the same person, no?
Yes.
तो अंदर जो है वही बाहर निकलने वाला है. There's not going to be flowers out inside once you get into bed. No, it's going to show up as anger only. So you have to deal with your insecurities within yourself first by showing yourself that you're going to be there for yourself no matter what. You're going to show up for yourself. You're going to take care of your parts which are unhealed, in the sense that, for example, an insecurity that I lose someone, insecurity that I lose money. A lot of insecurities around financials come up. I recently had a very deep conversation with a client, and that made me realize something. We're not seeking financial stability always. We are actually seeking grounding. We think the man is grounded if he's making money. But just check whether he is grounded otherwise without making the amount of money you want. And is it a negotiable or a non-negotiable that you want someone who is rich, who has a car, who has a bungalow, whatever, or you're really seeking someone who's emotionally available, listening, sexually compatible, and emotionally compatible? So what do you get out of the relationship? Again, get to the truth of things. Don't try to put insecurities onto them. Okay, oh, no, you must make more money because I don't feel secure in this relationship. You must be sexually this way, or you must not get attracted to anybody. Don't put rules onto them. First, see within yourself, why am I insecure? Why don't I trust the universe? Why don't I trust life? Why don't I trust myself that I'll be able to handle if he doesn't or she doesn't? So, questioning your own insecurity will help you deal with this. The best behavior about this is not to put that onto them and look within.
Okay. So we have a question from our audience. How to understand whether your partner need you if he mostly does not express emotion or physical display of emotions.
Okay.
Should I
So they
repeat?
want you to guess and become like clairvoyant or something. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of us do this. They won't emotionally tell you, okay, oh, I want you, I need you, all that, especially men, because they're taught not to. I highly recommend a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. This is a highly recommended. It's a very popular book. You will find it anywhere. And the author in that gives you multiple strategies to deal with something like this. On an onset, I feel if someone is not fully expressing, it's good to ask good questions And if they blame you for that, have a conversation, deeper conversation, or seek couple of sessions with a therapist for them to understand that they need to express more. You want any behavioral change in other people, it's going to be very hard. You want any behavioral change within yourself, it's going to be easier. But if you just can't deal with it, then check within yourself that why do I want them to express in the first place? Can I get some other clues? So some people are not aware that they need it. So if you give them an example, you were fussy about this thing that day, and then I did this and you felt okay. So I guess this is your need. Am I getting you right? So you help them identify their needs, why they are behaving the certain way. Or you can also set up like an event within your relationship where you actually do the opposite so that that reaction comes out of them, and use that as a simulation to ask them better questions that in I did this because I know you will react, and now I need to know what do you really need. तुमको ये चाहिए. And they're going to be like, no, it wasn't like that, or whatever. Then tell them, I don't understand. I genuinely want to be there for you. I want to do everything you want, but because you don't display, I don't understand. And I am not, my third eye is not open that I can just see through. I'm human, so I need it. So explain your needs. Sometimes people just react to that, saying that, oh, this person he doesn't tell me or she doesn't tell me. अब मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा? And they get frustrated over it. Have a conversation, build like a experiment within your relationship, or simply tell them how they react and show them a pattern of their own behavior. That should help them reflect and change that behavior.
Okay. Okay. So,
Yes.
ma'am, is it fine to lose your self-respect in a relationship?
Not only in a relationship, nowhere, no? You shouldn't. Nowhere. I feel self-respect is also could be an
Very
ego strategy
important,
sometimes.
actually.
Yeah, it's extremely important. But how do you define self-respect? Is also a very good question to reflect at. What is your definition of self-respect? Sometimes preserving your ego becomes self-respect. So then you should look within yourself and start, your own reflection. Ki, why, if this person calls me so and so, why does it hurt me? Why does it not bother me if they do this, but why does it bother me if they do
Right.
this? Right? So every trigger from outside is going to be an assignment within yourself that why is this thing bothering, and वो नहीं बात मतलब वो इतना कुछ भी कर ले, like he doesn't make any money, I'm okay, but he doesn't respect my opinion or my point of view about say BJP, and it becomes a problem. You wouldn't believe political views is actually an
Yeah,
issue
yes,
between
true.
couples.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Or for example, after marriage you must take care of my parents.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, earlier daughter-in-laws would do that, and your mother may have done that, but if she's independent and she doesn't want to, and if it's your non-negotiable, say it. Don't force her, oh, you love me so much, then you must do it for my mom. No, that's not going to work anyway. So you have to see these things, they're very close. What bothers you, what doesn't bother you. If something bothers you, there is something between inside yourself which is not okay with yourself. One very good way also is whenever you judge someone, right? You
yeah.
get to know that where have I been and done that. Like for example, something in a relationship bothers you, like they're not
I
organized.
would, sorry to interrupt in this, but don't you think that we judge each and every person in our life? Like, I would say, like, if we go to a party also, there would, our first impression would be something different, like about that person. And maybe when we meet for another 3 to 4 times, our judgment do change. So
Hmm.
I think then how, like,
Yeah. Great. Like we judge like we breathe.
yeah,
I
I,
agree. But not getting attached to the judgment that I am
right.
right is the key. The key is not to judge. You can't stop judgment. It's like breathing. But not to get attached to it. Like you said,
Exactly.
after you meet 3 or 4 times, your judgment has
Yes.
changed. So why create a concrete opinion about something? ये ऐसा ही है. Can you give yourself and the other person freedom to change it? Because it does. Because you know that your judgment is not going to be, it's like the, seven blind men go to see how big is the elephant. Someone gets an ear and they think it's as big as that, and someone gets the tail and it thinks that's is as that. So that's it. That's what judgment looks like. It's going to color the story as per your understanding of life. So just know that it's not true, and there's deeper conversation, deeper understanding, and most importantly, deeper listening is really important for you to understand other people. But don't get stuck on an opinion. That's what I would say.
Okay, okay. So I think that was the last question from like I would
Okay,
ask our audience if they have any question, we can wait for 2 minutes or we are done with
sure.
our questions.
Yeah, sure, sure. Till we get
I
the
do
other
have
question.
a
Yeah,
I do have one
go
more
ahead, go ahead.
question. So,
Mm-hmm.
basically, a lot of time happens, our parents, I would just take a family thing. A lot of time, what happens, our parents
Mm,
force, like, I wouldn't say force, but they tell us, okay, do this particular course. But when we don't succeed in that course, we kind of give them that guilt. One thing is that, and
mm,
that guilt make them so मतलब so guilty, they make them so guilty and scary that they get scared
mm,
of that child. मतलब वो जरा सा भी बोलेगा उनके अंदर एक डर रहेगा, वो स्ट्रेस रहेगा, ओ मैंने इसके लिए खाना ठीक से नहीं बनाया, ओ मैंने ये चीज ठीक से नहीं करी. How to work on
mm-hmm.
that
As a kid or as a parent?
as a parent?
As a parent.
Not is it
So,
sorry to interrupt, is it fine
mhm.
to be scared of your kids? The biggest question I want to ask you.
See, everything is fine and not fine depending on what your values are, right? It's not moralistic or given that, oh, no, 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 you shouldn't be, or you should be. No. Um, Fear of any kind shows that you have an insecurity, something is going to go wrong. What is fear? Fear is also lack of skills. Sometimes when we don't know how to handle something, like for example, I don't know how to drive a car, then I'm going to be scared of driving. I don't know how to handle those expectations of the kid, I'm going to be scared of it. And I judge myself by the standards that the kid is putting. Instead of
Okay,
telling myself I'm doing the best.
the best.
Like, why am I not the best mom? I'm doing enough. There's a whole meme, like a reel that was very viral, and I really love it. Someone says, what do you do? So she says, oh, I'm doing best, Tom. I'm doing my best. That's it. You're doing your best, and you can't do more because you also have self care. You also want to be the sexy wife. You also want to be the ideal daughter in law. You also want to be a great daughter to your parents. And you also want to be a great mom.
Fun,
All
yeah.
those roles are very hard on spite, and some people on top of that have a very, very demanding career where they want to excel for themselves and make money for the family. Now, it's not easy. They're normal human beings. They're going to falter. And then the kids judge by a certain standard, and the moms are like, oh my God, I haven't done enough. Or the dad would be like, oh, I couldn't financially support my child. But the most important thing is to know that this is the best they can, and that is what is most possible in the most harmonious way. So there's nothing beyond that, and there's nothing to be guilty. Guilt is anyway a very false emotion
Personal.
in a way, right? It's
I
based on,
agree.
we always judge ourselves. बाद में कुछ हो जाता है ना, उसके बाद में हम judge करते हैं कि whether it was right or
Correct.
wrong, but you
Right.
did that with the best of your capacity. So once you know that I did my best, yeah, when you know that you could have done better and you don't do, definitely it's a real emotion, but those points are very rare. Very few
Okay.
people come to that point to say, oh, I could have done enough.
Yes.
So that's what it is. Yeah.
So we have another question from our audience. How to understand whether your partner need you if he mostly doesn't express his emotions or physically
Hmm.
display his or her emotion?
Okay. Didn't we do this question just now?
Yeah, but
I
that
think.
same person asked
Yeah,
us
in a
this
way.
question
Okay.
again. Yeah.
So I just answered this to the viewers. I would ask you to watch the whole thing again, but I'll repeat in a very short way. You wouldn't understand unless you ask them. you wouldn't understand unless you listen fully,
Um,
and you can't change someone else. So if you can change yourself and be more vulnerable and open to them, they might mirror that. So that's also a strategy. Apart from that, definitely take a few sessions if it's a very big problem. That's what I would say.
okay. So thank you, ma'am. I think that person again asked the same question from us. So we don't
Sure.
have any, yeah. So we don't have any other
Yeah, sure.
question left. So I would take
Perfect.
your leave. Thank you so much, ma'am,
Sure.
for joining us, and thank you all the audience for joining us. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
good
you,
day.
everybody. It was amazing. Thank you, Tamanna, for sharing this space with me. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Ma'am, there is one more question. Just a
Okay,
second.
let's
Yeah,
go. Let's go. Yeah.
I think she's typing.
Okay, cool. There's one more question. I see the comment.
Yeah,
So,
she replied, great
thank you,
session.
Pratika.
Okay, we have a question, but sometimes being vulnerable makes you weak in front of the other person.
Yeah, that could be a very, very important aspect of being vulnerable, right? So, Radhika, yes. Radhika, the scene is when we are more vulnerable, there is a perception that you're more weak. Because what vulnerable, if you go by the dictionary terms, it means that I am open to be attacked. Now, if you see this very physically, suppose you're a fireman, they are vulnerable to the fire, right? They go in their suit and they fight the fire. Now tell me, if you see a fireman who is vulnerable, would you call them brave or would you call them a coward? Being vulnerable is exactly like that. Being vulnerable is actually an act of bravery, but because it's an open to attack kind of a situation, we feel we are weak. There's an amazing TED talk on vulnerability is a power or vulnerability is strength. If you type this in YouTube, you would find that vulnerability is actually strength, but because the whole societal conditioning talks about that, oh, okay, you're not, uh, it's not nice to tell everything. अपने घर की बात घर में रहने दो. ये जो चल रहा है ये चार दीवारों के बीच में रहना चाहिए. That culture doesn't allow us to be vulnerable, and then that is looked down upon. It's shamed. But honestly speaking, vulnerability is that, like that fireman, I'm open to face a fire from the other partner. And that's what makes it actually strong. So you're a very strong person and a brave person if you actually do it. And few people will understand that, but that's okay. You do your thing. Best of luck.
Ma'am, we do have two more
Yes,
questions. First
sure.
question is
Go ahead.
that when we stop overdoing in a relationship, when you come to know that you have to focus on yourself too, how to handle that conflict that arises?
Could you repeat? I didn't understand. What
Sure.
consequences are we talking about?
When we stop overdoing in a relationship and when we get to
Overdoing.
know that you have to focus on yourself too, how to handle that conflict that arises in the relationship?
So the power that made you focus on yourself will actually strengthen you to face the consequence. It's like any habit change. For example, you change a city. For some time, you're going to take time to adjust with the life around. So your relationship is going to go through some change. So just be patient and express more clearly of why you're doing what you're doing. The problem is people suddenly start changing their relationship and without taking other person in confidence of why. So the big why behind the change has to be explained very well and be ready for a change and ask them to be ready for a change. If they are not, they will lose you to the new version of you, but you'll find someone in your alignment as well. So trust the process.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Now, last question. How to convince your
So,
partner to come for a therapy? So I think the best question.
$1 billion question. Yeah. By changing yourself. I think this is my experience, that in a couple, if one person, and most times it's women who come first, When they see changes in you for the better, and if the partner is mature and understanding, they also try to come. But the best way to convince is not by words, but by actions. If you follow therapy and they see the glow on your face and the lightness in your heart, it's very attractive. And then they want to know the source and go to the source. But verbal convincing hardly helps. I've never found it to be effective, because if someone doesn't want to change, you can't force them to change. And therapy puts them in light, so it's scary, and they may not trust the therapist. So I also recommend not to go to the same therapist sometimes. If they're not convincing, ask them to go to another therapist, or find a coach, or find a mentor, or some other form of spiritual. Like, one person I really recommend sending videos of is Sister Shivani. She's from Brahma Kumaris, and she makes this
Yeah.
very relevant videos, not only in India, but I actually send it to all couples abroad as well. Those sessions have helped a lot of people to reflect within themselves, because sending to therapy, the objective is that they reflect on themselves and work on themselves, right? It's not only bringing them to therapy as such. They could go to another form of changing themselves. But openness to change is like a default requirement. So that only opens up when they see the change in their partner. That's what it is.
Okay. So thank you so
Cool.
much, ma'am, and thank you so much for giving your time. Thank you to the
Sure.
audience. Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you. Have a
ma'am.
great evening ahead.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye.